Now, I think a lot of you will agree that Friday night's dev stream had a lot of very welcomed changes being announced. In fact, it's probably the most positive reaction I've seen from the community in months, if not the last year, considering the amount of, I guess, content drought and interest in the game kind of dwindling away. So hopefully this will be the start and a sign of things to come. But anyway, how are you feckers all doing? It's finally looking like a lot of those main issues with Warframe and a lot of meta shifts can be expected with the start of this mainline update, which is hopefully scheduled for early this week. Now, while we wait for that, let's quickly go over some of those Arcane changes. You can go ahead, grab a beer, a cola, a Pepsi, a coffee, a Dr. Pepper, or a Dr. Bob, I guess, if you're using the cut price version. Up to you completely. But just so you know, if you're drinking Dr. Bob, sounds wrong, you're probably a degenerate. And don't give me any of that water pish either. Now, Arcane double stacking, that's gone. It's a thing of the past once this mainline update hits, which will of course heavily affect certain meta setups like a double Arcane Grace Inros or an Arcane Tanker Rhino or using double Guardians. You get the idea. But this means that your build will hopefully now be more open to using different Arcanes, giving you more build variety, while also some of those Arcanes that you love using are also being buffed up a little bit as well. So you won't be able to double stack them, but you will have slightly buffed Arcanes and more build diversity as well. I guess that's the idea that Digital Extremes are going for. Now, in relation to the Magus Arcanes, the one for your Tenno, you know, your Ronald McTenno, they are also seeing buffs of up to rank 5. You know, right now they're only rank 3, but they're getting up to rank 5 as well. And you will be able to break down any of your current fully built Arcanes into single ones by distilling them. Now, I'll go over some of the most used Arcanes in Warframe in a minute and show the changes that they are getting, the stat increases and so on. But one of the biggest changes is probably how we will acquire Arcanes. Right now you can get Arcanes in game by running arbitration missions, but also by killing Eidolons. But when the Scarlet Spear event drops in early March, which I'm imagining is just going to be maybe 2 weeks away, then all current Arcanes will be added to that event vendor for the duration of the event. This might make them much easier for you to acquire, depending on the price, I guess, that the vendor has for them, meaning you don't need to go out and kill several Eidolons in order to get the Arcane that you want to get your hands on. But it also means that the event vendor might have a high price for them. You might have to run that event quite a lot of times. Now that means that the Arcane market within Warframe will probably tank in terms of price per Arcane for the duration of that event and probably not cost as much as they used to once the event is over. We're going to have to wait and see how that pans out. But that is how you will be able to acquire any of the Arcanes in game, simply by running the Scarlet Spear event and then buying them off the vendor. Now, because stacking is no longer going to be a thing, they have increased the rank of each full Arcane from rank 3 to rank 5. This means more single Arcanes will be needed to reach that rank 5. It's 10 single Arcanes right now to fully rank up an Arcane up to rank 3, and it will be interesting to see if they multiply each level or each rank needed in the same way that they currently do, meaning that you might need somewhere up on about 20 single Arcanes to reach the new rank of rank 5 for your Arcane of choice. And if that is the case, then that is going to be a big grind, or else you're going to have to spend a bit of platinum. Now, there are also a whole new set of Arcanes being added with the mainline update, kind of resistance ones. Arcanes that will give you 100% chance to resist corrosive damage, radiation damage, gas, impact and so on. Also one for bleed out reduction, take less damage while reviving. So there is new ones for you to try out in your builds. Now, some of the most used Arcanes are seeing buffs to effectiveness, the duration that that buff stays active, and of course the chance for that buff to actually proc. Now, Arcane Grace is probably one of the most popular Arcanes for players to use. The new Arcane Grace will have a 9% chance to proc, giving you 6% health regen over 9 seconds. But now it's going to come with a cooldown, meaning it can't proc twice in succession. You're going to have to wait for that cooldown to end before Arcane Grace can kick in again. The only thing is that we don't know how long that cooldown is. We don't know anything about it. This, I would imagine, will heavily affect those meta Inros builds as well as some of the other ones, but the current Arcane Grace has a 6% chance to proc for 4% healing over 6 seconds. So it's getting a 2% bonus heals, 3 second extra duration, and it has a 3% bonus chance to proc, so it is getting buffed up a little bit. Now Arcane Avenger will have a 21% chance to give you 45% crit chance for 12 seconds when your Warframe takes damage. The current one is 14% chance for 30% crit chance, and it will last for 8 seconds. So again, it's being buffed and it can't be stacked. You're getting a bonus to 15% crit chance and a longer duration on that Arcane as well. Now Arcane Guardian is another very popular one within the player base. The new Guardian might still have a typo in the dev workshop post. Rebecca came out and said that some of the Arcanes that were put in there needed fixing. The stats on them were kind of wrong, and the new Arcane Guardian might be one of those. It has a 15% chance to proc, giving you 600 bonus armor for 30 seconds, while the old one had a 20% chance to proc, which means you're losing 5%. And it gives you the same 600 armor for 20 seconds, so less chance to proc while giving you the exact same armor for slightly longer duration. So hopefully that is a typo, because if you're having to use more Arcanes to go from rank 3 to rank 5 but you're getting the same effect just for an extra 10 seconds while not being able to double stack them, then that Arcane will definitely not be as useful as it was before. Arcane Energize is another Arcane that gets a lot of use. I mean, bonus energy, who doesn't want that, right? The new one will give you a 60% chance to give energy back to nearby teammates, but it doesn't say how much it is or if there is any kind of an increase to the energy that you're giving to those teammates. It also comes with a cooldown, and it doesn't say how long that cooldown is going to stay active for. Again, this is one of the most used Arcanes and will probably affect a few of your builds once they change it with this mainline update. Now, Arcane Pulse is going to be very interesting to see what way this one pans out, for the simple reason Steve and Scott mentioned it during the dev stream as being slightly broken during the current, I guess, gameplay. They mentioned that its range and how quickly it healed was a little bit over the top. But the new Arcane Pulse has a 30% chance to heal nearby allies whenever you pick up a health orb, but it doesn't say how much that heal is for, and it doesn't mention the range as well, because that's something that I think Steve mentioned on the dev stream, that the range was a little bit too high. The old Pulse had a 20% chance to tick in for 20 meters, and it gave you 100 extra health once you picked up that health orb. So you would expect maybe that the new one will give slightly more heals, but the range might be ticked down a little bit, or might be left as is, even though it's now a rank 5 Arcane. Now, Arcane Aegis is another very popular one with Warframes like Hildren, but it looks like it might be getting a kind of nerf. It's hard to tell whether it's a typo or not. 3% chance for 30% shield regen over 30 seconds. Now, that 30% shield regen might be the typo, or else it might be okay, it might not be a nerf, whereas the old Aegis had a 6% chance to proc for a flat plus 60 shield over 20 seconds. So plus 60, not 60%, whereas the new one is not a flat amount, it's a percentage, so you might get more shield back, so it might be okay, this Arcane. Again, it might also be a feckin' typo, we don't know. Last one, I promise, but Arcane Barrier gets a flat 2% buff. It was 4% chance to fully restore your shield. Now it is a 6% chance, but like I said, it can no longer be stacked. Now, I know there are plenty of other Arcanes like Arcane Fury, Arcane Trickery, and some other ones that are definitely getting buffs as well as the new Arcanes that are being added. But I will leave again the dev workshop post below in the description of this video if you want to go and check out every one of those Arcanes and what's coming with them. We will have to wait and see for the mainline update and the patch notes, and I guess for the player base to test some of these Arcanes and see if they match up with what we're being told, like the actual range of Arcane Pulse and things like that. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of all of these changes coming to Arcanes in general. I will do another one maybe later on in the week about the changes to shotguns, and of course everything that's coming with mainline update as well, especially with the self-damage removal, and of course how hard it's going to hit my old favourite Warframe Chroma as well. Also, how is your Dr. Bob? As always, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Don't hit it if you didn't like it, right? Subscribe for more Warframe, and as always, thanks very much for watching.